It's Capital Market Live on Channels Television. Welcome back from the break. Well, before we went on break, we were talking about the NASD O2C, which is one of the major securities exchanges in the Nigerian market here. But the NASD began the year 2018 with the launch of its enterprise portal, among other initiatives and agreements signed with some bodies as the year unfolded, all in the name of promoting a sound capital market system, especially on the unquoted securities side of things. But to find out how this raft of programs have performed under the leadership of Mr. Bola Ajamale, he's here still. Let's listen more to him. You came up with the enterprise portal this year, albeit you got the performance of companies doing well now in the system. How has that portal launched in April this year? How has it performed so far? How much of participation has it enjoyed from the public?
It will not receive public participation. It's more an initiative to move growth companies closer to the capital market. Okay. It's their first touch with the market. And what it does is it brings growth companies in touch with due diligence advisors who can advise them, put them in a shape that can make them investor ready. And then when they are investor ready, the portal has some private equity investors who are standing on the other side of the portal who are willing to invest in a company that is well presented. We recently joined the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI. And in our joining LCCI, immediately on joining, we came across a whole lot of companies that have been through various growth stages. They're investor ready, and they're now thinking of where do they present themselves? Do they do an IPO? Do they go to the bank to raise money? They easily go into the portal, and then they can be introduced to
but you really, being the watcher or the regulator here, or quasi-regulator, I should say, you see and you know when a company gets an investor.
Oh, yes. So the whole idea behind us using due diligence advisors is because we are not going to directly supervise what the companies are doing. We want them to be led by an advisor, and the advisor would position them, and then the advisor has the responsibility of reporting to NASD. So again, we're interacting with advisors who will then act as people who would, should I say, mentor the companies into a situation where they can raise capital. So again, it's expanding the scope of the capital market. Just as we say the Nigerian space is underbanked, it is under, what's the word, the custom from the capital market is a bit less than what it should be.
So now that you've become a member of LCCI, I think you're also a member of the SME, one of the SME associations.
Yes, we are.
What is NASD looking for in membership of these associations?
These are all companies that will grow. And the growth of Nigeria is, a certain amount is going to come from the multinationals, the big companies. But then again, we have a groundswell of activity that is going on that needs to grow. And if it receives the finance, if it can scale the capital raise hurdle, then its chances of growing and surviving are much higher. Again, if you take the capital market to these growth companies, you will find that their ability to sustain, their ability to run through generations is also higher, rather than it being a one-man business that dies with the owner. It already has the capital market behind it. It can stay and live for much longer, outlive its founder.
So what other initiatives, developments have you come up with this year, 2018, in the market?
Well, what we have done this year is essentially stabilize the market. Last year was a very challenging year, as we all know. More so in NASD, because this was not the time for that was a situation where people were not really interested in acquiring securities generally, and then not on the OTC market in particular. First of all, what we did was we stabilized the market by requiring a certain level of governance and reporting. We are just reaching the final stages of our investor protection fund, which again would create a lot more confidence in the system.
How much has been targeted in that regard?
I will not be able to give you the figure offhand right now. It's at the final reading, and it should be out in the next couple of weeks.
During the course of the year, it looks like you also changed your something about the trading system.
Yes, we did. We were using the a leased system, which
Okay.
is the same one the Nigerian Stock Exchange was using. However, we think that there was a fit to scale that we could do that would that would fit the market a lot closer.
Okay.
And so we actually used a proprietary system that we built, homegrown, that we built in Nigeria.
Really?
Yeah, using Nigerian talent, which again is part of which is partly what NES is trying to do: engage the fintech industry, make sure that that industry is put to its full use. We do have the talent, and so part of what we did was engage local talent, and they built the system, and that's what we switched to, and that's what we're using right now.
During the week, you also had something running, moving away from the manual trading also to GoDaddy and all that. In terms of your website now.
Yes. So we've relocated the website, and then we are going to launch a new website in the next couple of days. There'll be a new website that will
What difference will that bring on board?
More information. It will bring in more information, easier access. Again, it recognizes and links directly to two other important, so it links to two portals. It links to the trading platform. It links to the NASDAQ platform, which is the enterprise platform.
Right.
So you're either interested in the primary market or you're interested in the secondary market, which is the one for public securities. And then it also gives traders the opportunity to recap information. It has an information portal as well.
How about observers like us? Would we have access to real-time trading on your website?
You will have access. You won't get access to real-time trading. There will be a delay. There will be a delay.
If there are delays, no problem.
It will be a delay information. Partly what we're also trying to do is we're trying to create an index where we're in discussions with, at the moment we won't disclose it, but we're in discussions with one of the large indexes to create a small index, a 5-security index of the top securities on NESD. Essentially those top securities are the ones that have generated a return of over 20% right now,
and counting. Yesterday,
we have a plus of 20% on the index.
Year-to-date performance.
Year-to-date.
And it looks like you're of course in the positive territory with the months-to-date as well. I think everything.
Months-to-date. There was only one quarter when we had a negative to date, and that was in the second quarter. We had a negative of I think 1% or 1.8%. First quarter we had a plus of 8. This last quarter, third quarter, we had a plus of 11%. So we are seeing a heating up of activity. One particular security has made, I think, about 80% return.
Really?
Another one has made, and they're the largest securities as well, interestingly. Another one has made a 35% return. So we're seeing those kind of returns on some of the securities on the market, and we're thinking we'll index them and make that an exchange tradable product itself.
That will be a very good side of the market, so actually participate in and experience how things are going there. Well, there's something that I really want to quickly ask you, the unfinished business of the soccer leagues trading. Where are we on this? How come we haven't, I mean, it's been over a year.
The soccer stocks was something that we're really excited about. We did recognize the fact that if we did not get the first soccer stock into the market by the middle of this year, then any other decision may be political, in which it may have political overtones, in which case we will have to wait until after the elections before that continues. We have seen interest from about, we actually got as far as allocating advisors to nine of them.
Yeah, 9 of the leagues.
Nine of the players in 9 of the teams in the Premier League, but that will have to wait until after the elections, and then.
So we're seeing a whole lot of political tension. Isn't that going to disturb the outlook for your performance this year?
It hasn't so far, and I think everyone would, for the investors on the OTC side of the market, they seem to be, and I'm speaking general, they seem to be looking at in Nigeria 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, rather than looking at in Nigeria as of February and March 2019. So
it's good to say that the NASD OTC market is firewalled against the election tensions and all of that.
We can say we're taking a long-term perspective.
No problem. Mr. Bola Jomole, what a pleasure to have you on Capital Market again. Really appreciate your presence and your analysis. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
He's the CEO of the NASD OTC Securities Exchange here in Nigeria, where you trade unquoted securities.